Hello and welcome back to Spain and to Ponferrada. I'm Phil Liggett and this is the second day of action at the UCI Road World Championships, and we continue our coverage today with the time trial, the under-23 men here in Ponferrada. Well, I'm delighted to tell you the weather has improved greatly since the start of the day as we take a little spin around this lovely town of Ponferrada in the west and its famous Templar Castle. First time the World Championships have visited this part of Spain, and the seventh time in the history of the World Championships it's come to the country. This is the 81st edition of the World Road Cycling Championships. Men's under 23 time trial set to get underway in about 6 or 7 minutes time from the centre of the town. The weather conditions are still cloudy, but the sun is peeping through now from the rain that they had for the women's junior time trial this morning. And temperatures, as soon as the sun breaks through, do shoot up from 15 degrees now to a standing 20 degrees Celsius. Those very light winds are still blowing around the course. Some of the latter starters in the women's junior event were caught off guard with the rain towards the end of the day, which was heavier than for most of the time trial, but it still provided us with an outstanding victory by a world track champion, Macy Stewart from Australia, taking out the junior title ahead of Pernille Mathiesen of Denmark and Annalisa Hull of Australia. So Australia continue their incredible 2 days of opening to these championships. 2 silver medals in the team time trials for men and for women yesterday, and now they've got a gold and a bronze in the women's junior time trial. Field of 63 riders in the men's event, as we'll have a quick look here around Ponferrada on the course, leaving in a right-handed direction throughout the day to cover the 36.15 kilometres through La Martina. It's not a totally flat time trial course. The hills are very, very gentle, but they, as we saw in the women's race, slightly different course. Of course, it was shorter for the women, only 13.9 kilometres. But the hill towards the end, the same for all. Once we break out of the protection of the surrounds of Ponferrada, we're out into open countryside here before we make a big swing through the high spots of the course and head back down towards the finishing line. Checkpoints coming at 12.3 kilometres, 23.3 kilometres, and the finishing line is at 36.15 kilometres, just after we come over the high spot at 608 metres, and then that tricky descent down into the final kilometre as they approach the finish with that sharp right-hand turn 3 kilometres out from the line. Damien Hewson, the was the champion, not defending now. In fact, he got himself a silver medal yesterday as part of the Orica Green Edge professional team as he moves on from his under-23 World Time Trial Championship of a year ago. This is now the start list here, starting with the first man to take the line, Ahmet Orkan of Turkey. And Louis Menkes from South Africa, second in last year's under-23 road race and now making his way with the MTN Quebec squad, rode the recent Vuelta a España. Maybe a man to give us a marker early on. Robin Carpenter, one of the Hincapie Sportswear development squad, also out at number 40. British rider Jonathan Dibben goes 37 from the end. And the Australian hopes pinned early on with Dion Smith. And probably their main hopes will be with Campbell Flakemore, who will be third from the end to take the start line today. Prologue winner of the Tour de l'Avenir. which is regarded as the race of the future, or the amateur version of the Tour de France. Teams making ready down there. The start a little bit away from where the finishing line is, about 400 to 500 meters on the other side of those apartments, to get them clear of the town fairly quickly, and then they come right around in a right-handed loop to return back into the finishing line. This is the start line here. And as we speak, the sun actually is beginning to come out and warm up, which is much appreciated, I'm sure, by the riders here today. Although, having said that, Macy Stewart, basically a track rider and concentrating on the track for the Rio de Janeiro Olympic Games in Brazil, was very delighted to see the rain falling this morning when she awoke, and was happy to take the start in the rain. She certainly turned out a tremendous performance, leading from start to finish and holding it from start number 25 through to the end of 49 women taking part in that event. Routine check of all the bicycles for the time trial to confirm that they stay within the measurements allowed, and also that the weight is correct. Not too far away, and a few hundred kilometers, that's all, from Santiago de Compostela, which is the finish of the Walk of St. James, the pilgrimage route which passes through here. This is the last main town it passes through before we get to Compostela. And that's where the Vuelta a España ended this year as well. First man to start, waiting for the call to the line. The riders all going out at 2-minute intervals on this 36-kilometer circuit. No laps involved, it's straight out and home on a right-handed circuit. And the Rwandan Valentin Dasenga just reclaiming his bike. He'll be fifth man to start. Team that's trained by Jonathan Boyer, former Tour de France rider. First American cyclist in the Tour. And now living in Uganda, where he really is a tremendous support for not just Rwanda, but for the African riders in general. Checking the length of those bars. Do not project too far forward to give them a Superman position. The last time these World Championships were in Spain were in Madrid, in fact, back in 2005. Happy days for Tom Bonen, the Belgian cyclist who won the World Road Race Championship. That's the last event of these games next Sunday, as we deal with the time trials through Wednesday, rest day on Thursday, and then the road races start on Friday. And this man's about to start right here. National time trial champion of Turkey, Ahmet Orkun. 2 minutes each between the riders. Well, unlike the women, he's looking out at drying road surfaces this time. 10 seconds. So Orkun opens up the fourth World Championship discipline of the 12 of the week. Checkpoint for him will come at 12.3 kilometers and then 23.3, and then back to the finish on the far side of where he is at the moment at 36.15 kilometers. Well, the rain fell through the night. It went off just as dawn broke, which here is quite late on the west of Spain, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then it came down again just on cue before the women started at 10. He's taking those corners a bit tight, and if he took them a little bit wider and raced into them, he might have a better shot. "21 years of age, all of these riders under 23 in this championship. And if they are members of a World Tour team, then they are not allowed to take part in these championships. They have to ride in the elite events as being on a World Tour team. Singaporean here is Benedict Lee, member of the OCBC Singapore team which races mostly in Asia. I'm one of the youngest riders in the race at just 19 years of age. On the start line now, Pontus Kastemir of Sweden. Finished 24th in this championship last year. He's got himself a pretty early start off number 2. 20th in the European Championship this year. And was last year's champion of Sweden. Didn't do too well in the time trial titles this time around in Sweden. He was finishing only 9th, but they put him back into this World Championship after his 24th place finish last year. Quite a twisty route to get clear of Ponferrada, and then they settle down onto the long straight roads. The big challenge coming towards the end when we have that rather draggy climb to just over 600 meters above sea level, and then quite a sharp descent into the last kilometer. Kastemir also having a bit of a problem with that right-hander. Now he can start to settle himself down a little bit. This is Louis Meintjes here, all smiles at the start, coming off a stellar season. Sits alongside his African continental colleague there from Rwanda. Let me go back in. David Per, 19-year-old Slovenian, who won the Junior Tour of Austria last year and is currently the national time trial champion of Slovenia. And so David Per underway. Maybe an early marker at the checkpoints for us. Third rider to go off. Looks a big, strong boy for just 19 years of age. Conditions are now actually pleasantly warm after the chill of this morning with the rain. Temperatures plummeted down to 15 degrees. Gone back up over 20 just now. Roads are drying out. It's taking a while. And tomorrow it's the women's elite time trial in action. Some of the girls that were involved in that accident in the team time trial for the Dutch squad won't be able to take part through their injuries in the women's elite time trial tomorrow. So David Per gets underway. First check we'll get is at 12.3 kilometers on them. Next man should be Benedict Lee from Singapore. Still waiting for his start here, Louis Meintjes. Last year, second in the World Road Race Championship very close to winning it, and rode in the Tour of Spain, which is just finished not too far away in Santiago de Compostela. This is Lee, counting with the timekeeper there as he gets out of the start house. So the Singapore squad receives a little bit of support from OCBC, which is the Singapore Bank, and they have a professional squad in Singapore that tends to go to all the Asian races, and they've had a couple of good results this year. Just about got round that left-hander, and now he's getting up those gears again, settling back in. In the women's race, they tried to seed the riders so the best men go at the end of the field, but in the women's race, off number 25, Macy Stewart was never headed on the leaderboard all of the morning. She was a very clear winner at the end as well. This is Stabolx Sebastian of Romania, just warming up. As we should now see the Rwandan in the start house, Valens Nadesenga. Team that had never been to the Commonwealth Games until 2010 in New Delhi, and the hard work of Jonathan Boyer, the American professional who now lives in Rwanda, got them to the Commonwealth Games, and he also brought them to the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow this year. Completely reshaped cycle racing in Rwanda. Now he's underway, so Ndayisenga, 20 years of age. He's the national time trial and national road race champion of Rwanda. Pretty good stage race rider too. The fact that the next man can actually ride once more in the under-23 championships is because he's part of the UCI Pro Continental squad, MTN Quebecer, and I'm talking about Louis Meintjes. He's had 3 wins this year, but includes his under-23 time trial and road race titles, and he won a stage of Africa's new tour, Mzansi Tour, but he also was the king of the mountains and the best young rider in that. And there he is now, Louis Meintjes, part of the first African team to take part in a Grand Tour, just ending last Sunday, not too far away in the Tour of Spain of Vuelta de España. Finished 55th, but he was a very strong rider. He had his good days in that race where he was up amongst the front runners. He's a very young rider, 22 years of age, and a real talent. We'd expect him to set the marker, and he gets there at the first start point of 12.3 kilometers. And his professional squad, MTN Quebecer, really strengthening, although they look as though they're going toward a more of a sprinting team next year. Signed a lot of top sprinters from around the world, including Tyler Farrar and indeed Theo Bos and Matthew Goss, the Australian. Just moved 2 minutes up the road here to have a look at Ndayisenga. About another 5 minutes before we start to get the riders going through that first check of 12.3. And the African nations as a continent really are warming up to cycle racing now and appearing more and more around the world, with the MTN Quebec team leading the way. Just looking down through the trees there, that is the start zone down there. Zabolks Sebastian from Romania now in the start house. He is going to be chasing Louis Meintjes. Sebastian makes his way out of the start ramp, gets through those gears, settles in nicely. 36 kilometers for riders under 23. It's not a long distance. They can't afford to make too many mistakes on the course as we go up the road to have a look at Meintjes in action here. The under 23 time trial champion of South Africa, title that he won also last year. And his big result coming in the World Under 23 Road Race. We're still to see that coming towards the weekend, and Meintjes will be riding it again and hoping to improve on his second place, which he achieved last year. Seven riders out of the start house of the 63. You now see the Qatar rider here. We don't see too many riders from Qatar. Diego Hosveld, 21 years of age. And this is the Greek flag. But we can fly for Qatar.
Diego Hosveld, insisto, corredor de Qatar, estará en la carretera. Ahora ya en poco más de 10 segundos será el octavo corredor en tomar la salida.
15 seconds to go. 10 seconds, sorry. So Diego Hosveld for Qatar makes his run. Country on the cycling map, as it is in many sports these days, Qatar. But as far as cycling is concerned, the Tour of Qatar, which is in the month of February. This is Sebastian from Romania. He's 2 minutes. He's 2 minutes out in front of Hosveld, who's just started. There was a picture of Benedict Lee out on the course there. They're heading up towards the first check at 12.3 kilometers. We go down into the start house now. Young man here from New Zealand, but spent most of his life racing in the States. He's part of the Bissell development squad. James Oram, 21-year-old, had a very good start to the year. Second in his home stage race, the New Zealand Classic. Very good result, and runner-up in the National Time Trial Championship as well. part of the Bristol development team, which is one of 3 development teams in the States. And James has had a very good season too. He's ridden in the major races in America, the Amgen Tour of California and the USA Pro Challenge, which brings over a number of World Tour teams. Now we'll see what he can do in the under-23 World Championship time trial. Kiwi underway. This is Diego Hosfeld, 2 minutes down the road. Going out on course. And we're getting to the first check here at 12.3 kilometers. Orkan has just gone through with 14 minutes and 57 seconds. And it looks like Castamere, the Swedish rider, is not going to match that because he's gone through in exactly 15 minutes. So Orkan's made a very good start, national time trial champion of Turkey, against last year's time trial champion of Sweden. Ignacio Prado of Mexico, 21 years old yesterday, and he looks like he's been in a training accident here. Rather nasty marks on his right shin there. Let's see if he can celebrate his first day at being 22 with a good performance. As Prado makes his start away, Victor Carlin should be the next man in the home start box. The Moldavian rider in his first year at this level of cycling, and his only real performance of the year so far. He finished 5th in his home championships in the time trial, and that got him his ticket to come here to Ponferrada. Just trying to, as they say, put himself in the zone now to concentrate. It takes a lot of power of concentration and a huge effort. David Per's just gone through, and Orkan still heading up from Turkey there. That first check, Orkan's gone through with a 14.57, and David Per of Slovenia still only third of 3, 4.54 seconds slower. Timekeeper and starter just moves in with 10 seconds to go. That seems to be his style. Gets caught in on the road from Moldavia. Of the 21-year-old. Now this is a chance to have a look at James Oram's style here from New Zealand as he gets himself settled in. The Bristol development squad, which he rides for in the States, have a habit of producing very good riders and seeing them passed on to the top teams around the world. So Oram must have impressed them to get a ride on that squad. But at all World Championships you ride for your country. So James Oram represents New Zealand here. As we look down at the metropolis of Ponferrada and hone in on the start zone down there amongst the apartments. It's about 500 meters away from the actual finishing straight, which is just off to our right. We should be finding the Honduran rider in there. Pablo Cruz will be the next rider to go from Honduras, the only Honduras rider entered in the time trial. Oh, sorry, this is Salah Eddine Marouni of Morocco here. Goes to 2 minutes ahead of Cruz. Best young rider in his home tour, the Tour of Morocco. And the third time he's taken part in the under-23 championships. And that's about as many as you can get. Depends how your age falls as to whether you can ride or not. And his birthday is in December. So Marouni on his way for the third and last time at this level of cycling for sure. This is Prado, Ignacio Prado. Still no new leader at the first check, but they're coming and going as well. But we've now had Lee go through for Singapore, 4th of 4. And he's already lost 1 minute and 10 seconds to Ahmed Orkan of Turkey in the opening 12 kilometers. So we expect to see Minkies go through there in about 3 minutes. This is the next man to go through that checkpoint in the Desenga. And Orkan surviving that one too. The Desenga goes through 4th of the 5 riders through there at the moment. The next man through that point will be Minkies. This is Victor Kartin of Moldova. Ahmed Orkan's average speed to that first 12.3 kilometer check was 48.928 kilometers an hour, which is 30 miles an hour and a pretty quick start. The only entry from Honduras, 22 years of age, Pablo Cruz. And he put some life into the crowd there as he left the start. Started to applaud for a change. At least they should be dry and reasonably warm now, unlike when the women were here earlier on. Cruz gets underway, waiting for the arrival now of Menkes at that first check, and here he comes. And he's still ahead of the time of Orkan, and going to be significantly so. He's got the leaderboard by half a minute there. Menkes goes through, and his average speed has gone through the 50 kilometers an hour barrier. Well, that boy has got real talent, and he's showing it there. 50.623 is kilometers per hour, as Menkes goes through in a time of 14 minutes and 27 seconds. Now that set the first real target for the others to follow. Based as a reference on Orkan here, all of these riders are slower than the Turkish rider at this moment in time. Be interesting to see if the youngster Louis Menkes, after a year of racing at the highest level and finishing up with a wildcard place on the MTN Quebec team in the Vuelta de España, whether or not that year of strengthening is going to put him a little bit ahead of the rest, because it's a lot of difference between being a very good road racing cyclist and a good time trial cyclist. Now the Greek flag will fly high now, because this is the one they're waiting to see. Ioannis Spanopoulos, national time trial champion last year, and he also finished 32nd in this event last year as well. So Spanopoulos on his way. Next rider expected at the first check is Sebastian of Romania. And he's already outside at the time of Louis Menkes, and he hasn't got there yet. This is the Croatian rider, part of the Adria Mobil team. Took part in the team time trial yesterday. For his squad, Bruno Malta, national time trial champion of Croatia, and also rode this event last year. He finished 35th in the time trial. Here comes the Romanian, next man to go through at the 12.3 kilometers. And he's already been past. Menkes' time will stand at this point anyway, as Sebastian looks for only the 6th best time, which he should get for the time being here, ahead of Lee of Singapore. And there's only 6 riders come through. Getting out into the country now. It's been a flattish route so far, but already conceding 1 minute 11 seconds to Louis Menkes. Well, 2 minutes goes quite quickly, doesn't it? Now we're getting down to a rider from Chile here, Jose Luis. Oh, I beg your pardon, the Croatian that hasn't gone yet, but there he is, he's going now. I thought he'd gone. Malta underway. Big solid time trials. Young squad, the Adria Mobil team. It's a Continental Pro team that took part in the team time trial yesterday. He was part of the 6 riders. They finished quite a way down the overall, in a race that was won by the World Tour team BMC, with Orica Green Edge taking the silver medal, of which Damien Houston was part of, and he was the champion at this discipline a year ago here. Well, not here, but in Italy, but in the under-23 championship. Bruno Malta out on course, 35th in the event a year ago, to Damien Houston. Next man in the start house will be the Chilean rider who's 4th in the Pan American time trial earlier this year, Jose Luis Rodriguez from Chile. And unfortunately it looks as though the clouds are closing in on us again. They're coming off the mountains that surround the town. A little bit of rain showing there. This is Diego Hosfeld coming in and trying to slot in better than 8th, and he's done that. 15:40 at the check, but conceding 72 seconds to Menkes at that point as well. James Oram of New Zealand, next man to come through that checkpoint. Pablo Cruz on course now for Honduras. Well, James Oram is going to be behind Menkes as well, because his clock is indicating he's already, in fact, has he just gone through? Oh, he's just gone through. In fact, they weren't showing pictures, but the clock, he was very close, and he's gone through just 7 seconds better than the time of Louis Menkes there, as the rain has started to come down again very heavily at the start line. This is Jose Luis Rodriguez, 4th in the Pan American time trial. third in the World Championship. Sorry, third in his third. This is his third World Championship. He's done all three in his age group, and this will be his last one for Rodriguez. Going to catch up with Spanopoulos here, but a little bit of a surprise, but a very, very good start by James Allman of New Zealand there. 14 minutes, 20 seconds, a 51 kilometre average speed to that first checkpoint. And he's riding on the Bissell development squad in some of the bigger races, clearly showing through there. 14:20 to Menkes 14:27. Azerbaijan in the start house now. This is Tural Iskandarov.
Salida número 47, Tural Iskandarov de Azerbaiyán.
Well, the rain may be reducing itself to just showers at the moment. It seems to have gone off again now. The clouds are brightening up a little bit. Gastemir of Sweden going through, and second best time, 28 seconds off the place, but also pushing Louis Menkes down now to third place. So the Swedish rider has really slipped into top gear there. Bruno Moltar here of Croatia out on course. Just looking at this, these are all based now on the referencing of Louis Menkes' time. James Oram 7 seconds better, Prado is 2 and Moltar is 9. And that's the rider we're looking at here at the moment. So he's made a very fast start as well. National time trial champion who rode in that team time trial yesterday. This is David Pear rather, coming through here. He's heading to the first check at 23 kilometres. Orkan holding best time there. He's gone through in 29:59. And this time, is he going to stop the clock? Yes, he is. So Pear has now taken over the running with the best time at 23 kilometres. 29:57 for him. He's got just 13 kilometres to go through to the finish. There's confirmation of the unfortunate weather that's beginning to fall here now as we catch up with Velasquez, Hugo Angel Velasquez of Argentina, making his start. 18th man to go. James Oram still holding pole position at the first check with 14:20, awaited at the second check. Pear made a very slow start compared to Oram, 41 seconds slower than him, and he's come right through from 6th place at that first check to best time at 23.3 kilometres. This is Rodriguez, the Pan American 4th placed rider in his 3rd World Time Trial Championship. It looks as though it's pretty dry out there where he is at the moment. It's only around the start area, because even at the finish area, which is within half a kilometre, there's no rain falling, so it is very patchy indeed as it comes in off the mountain, which completely surround Ponferrada. All of these riders getting ahead of Menkes on the road at the moment. From Algeria now, Abramani Manzuri. Second in the African Championships last year in the road race, and fifth this year in his country's time trial title. Ten riders through the first check, no change in the order. James Oram leading there. Still waiting for Menkes to come through at the second check. This is the first check at 12.2 kilometers, and Oram here holding pole position still at 14:20, and a big gap there to Gartin, over 2 minutes down. First of the Polish riders to go now. Przemysław Kasprkiewicz. 20 years of age, runner-up in his national championships both this year and indeed last year. And when he rode the Junior World Championships 2 years ago, he finished 19th in the time trial. Timekeeper steps forward. I've never seen anybody do that before. He waits till the last 15 seconds, then he steps up and gives them the count. So Kasprkiewicz on the way. Nadej Singer has gone through, the Rwandan rider, in third best at the second check. This is Menkes now coming up to that same point. Now he's taking on Per here. At the moment, convincingly clear of him at 23.3. And so he keeps his lead for the moment. See if he's kept the pace going there rather than losing a bit of ground. 28.27. Clear beating of those ahead of him just now. For Louis Menkes, this is Iskandarov of Azerbaijan. Now it'll be interesting also to see if Oram can keep the pressure up there, as he will shortly be approaching that second check for 23.3. Alex Kirsch of Luxembourg should be in the start house now. This is Pablo Cruz coming through for Honduras. And still well off the time of James Oram here. Still the best man at the 12.2 kilometer, and a minute 12 the deficit for Pablo Cruz. So he's set, if he keeps that up, to lose about 3 minutes on the day. This is Alex Kirsch of Luxembourg, third in his home's national time trial championship, 47th in the World Time Trial Championship 2 years ago. That was his first crack at the under-23, wasn't here last year. Spanopoulos out on course, 32nd in the World Championships last year as well. Oh, this is the Argentinian, Valquez, the 22-year-old. clearly they're getting a little bit of wet out on the course now. There's still no change at the second check. Menke stays top there ahead of David Per and Ahmed Orkan. Flags are out. Next man to go will be from Spain, Mario Gonzalez. Took part last year in Italy in these World Championships, finished 37th in this time trial. Last year's under-23 road race champion. Nobody altering the leaderboard out on course at the moment, as Gonzalez, the 22nd rider to go of the 63 riders. And there's the cheers from the crowd. Gonzalez gets out of that start house, gets up to speed, and settles down. Malta coming up to the check at 12.2 kilometers. Comes in with the fourth best time, very good, 14:35 there, only just under 15 seconds short of the best time at that point. Still the leaders on course. Oram is the leader at that 12.2, and then Menke's still holding it at 23.3. Oram is not too far away from getting there at the moment. He's been riding 27 minutes and Menke's went through in 28:27, so he needs to get there pretty quickly to hold an advantage. There's only 7 seconds in it at that first check between Menke's and Oram, so we'll see if they've closed in on that. Seeing the arrival now of the Romanian here, Sebastian. He's reaching the second check and he's just about going to break into the top 6 as well. 31:35 for him. Well, to nearby Portugal now, Rafael Reis. National champion this year and last year in Portugal. Now here's James Oram, looking very, very strong indeed. Now has he done enough here to take the lead? Menke's on top, but it's very, very close, and it could well be changed around here. No, he just keeps it, but look at that. 3/4 of a second is all that remains now. So Menke's has got into his stride, although Oram at the moment stays top. 28:27.16 against 28:27.86 of Menke's. So virtually together at the 23.3 kilometer checkpoint. This is out on course with Kasperkiewicz of Poland. And we should be about to see Robin Carpenter, the young American on the Hincapie Sport Development team in the start house. Oram now, according to this, has gone 1 second behind Menke's. Our lone rider from Qatar here, Diego Hosfeld, going through 23 kilometers. A little bit of a warning for the rider here because of the right-hander coming up. 8th place, stops the clock, 3:16 off the pace though of Oram. and indeed Menkes at the moment. There's Robin Carpenter from the USA, 22 years of age, second in his home championships. And underway. And it looks as though they're all going to be racing at some stage around this course into the rain. It is a right-handed circuit. The highest point is about 2 kilometers from the finish as we go through 600 meters above sea level. And then they descend to the last kilometer and race up to the line. Two riders separated by 0.7 of a second. Prado coming through. Ignacio from Mexico, 23 kilometers. He's been up amongst it and still is as he comes around here for the banner. Looking to slip into third slot at the minute. Keeps right up amongst the leaders there with 28.55, 28 seconds off the two front runners. Azerbaijan's Iskandarov, 12.2 kilometers, but down the field a little bit here, 61 seconds away, 11th place. And now down to the finish here. This is Ahmed Orkan, heading up to bring the riders home. He was first man to start. He sets the target now for the 36.15 kilometers. And he's been up amongst the front runners in the early part, so it's going to be a respectable time. There's 48 minutes dead for Orkan, first rider in. And a good effort for the man from Turkey. 10 riders through the second check. James Oram, Louis Menkes equal, and that's going to go down to the line because there's no more checks between 23.3 and 36.15. This is the Austrian rider, Gregor Mühlberger, who was runner-up in his time trial championship this year. No change either at the first check. Still Oram. Prado was split Menkes and Oram at the first check. He's dropped back a little bit at the second. Alex Kirsch of Luxembourg, and he seems to be catching the worst of the weather just out there. It certainly isn't raining in the built-up area of Ponferrada where the commentary is and where the finish line is. So just about 6 kilometers away, that's where they're catching the rain at the moment. Kazakhstan, Oleg Zemlyakov, another man who finished second in his home time trial championship this year. 21 years of age and a couple of months. And Zemlyakov is the 26th of the 63 riders to take the start here. Meanwhile, on course, James Oram, Louis Menkes, New Zealand and South Africa, split by just 0.7 of a second. This is Kastemeyer coming up towards the finish. And he's fallen away a little bit here as he gets into second best time so far. The two have finished. Lost 38 seconds to Orkan. The next man should alter the leaderboard there with David Pear from Slovenia expected in about a minute, I would think. Winner of the Junior Tour of Austria this year. We've seen Zemlikov. Now it's the first of the British riders should be in the start house. Jonathan Dibben. Let's just catch up here with David Pear because he's coming in and it should be a good time. His time to beat is 48 minutes dead. He's on 47.19 at the moment, so it's going to be a handsome beating and a new best time for him. For Slovenia, 47.23 puts him on top. Average speed of 45.768 kilometers an hour. Now this is Jonathan Dibben, the 20-year-old in the start house. Won a very good time trial this year in the Triptyque de Mont et Chateau of the castles and hills in, I believe it's in Belgium actually. French-speaking portion of Belgium. Jonathan Dibben also had a 5th place finish in the World Junior Road Race Championship 2 years ago on the young up-and-coming rider on Great Britain. 20 years of age, and he knows now what sort of times he's got to aim at because he will have heard about the times being done out on the course so far, and the top time is David Pear of Slovenia, 47.23. Riders coming and going at the 12.2 kilometer check, and nobody approaching the times of Aurum or Menkes. This is Gonzalez of Spain, looking to be moving very well here as the rain continues on that sector of the course. Not everybody dislikes the rain. In fact, many people do like racing in the rain. I think I was no exception, to be honest, and as we found out with Macy Stewart this morning, she was delighted to see it raining for the women's time trial and proved that by taking the gold medal. That's the kilometre sign. So now waiting, this is him, this is Menkes coming in now. And he really looks as though he's moving pretty quickly here. Now, has he maintained the gains? We won't know the answer to that till Aurum comes in, but he certainly looks as though he hasn't slowed down at all. The South African rider here, Louis Menkes, coming in. His time to beat is 47.23. He should do that handsomely. This has been a good ride by the youngster, who will try and go one better in the road race later in the weekend. And he finished 2nd in the Under-23 Championship last year. And I don't know why we've cut away to show you the start of the Danish rider, Casper von Falsack. As soon as we get him away, we'll get back to Menkes crossing the line. I can tell you that at the moment, 47.23 is the time at the finish to beat, and Menkes is approaching with a time of 44.17. And here he comes. And this is going to be a very top beating of the time of David Pear. Here's the line approaches. Incredible ride, 2.5 minutes advantage. He really got into his rhythm towards the second half of this race, and if he's kept that sort of a pace up, he's got in by 2 3/4 minutes quicker now with 44.38 for Menkes. That's a very good time, an average speed of 48.590 kilometers an hour. Now, has James Aurum continued to hold him in his gun sights? The young man who completed the Tour of Spain this year, Louis Menkes, at 22 years of age. This is Carpenter. He's still heading out to the first check at 12.2. Still about 5 minutes away from that. Menkes is the reference here. There's 3 riders going quicker than him on course. Race, Gonzalez and Kirsch, all according to the GPS, are getting there quicker. but James Oram not on that list, so maybe James has lost it a little bit after his quick start. We'll know shortly. Thierry Scheer, 21-year-old national time trial champion of Switzerland. Well, Alex Kirsch has now gone through that 12.2 kilometer check with the best time of 14 minutes and 9 seconds, which is 18 seconds quicker than Minky's. And this is Nadej Senga. And a very, very good ride by the Rwandan rider here. He's gone into 4th place at the moment, 48.28. So trouble on the way, it seems, for Menkes, and it's not coming from James Oram at the moment. It looks like Alex Kirsch, the Luxembourger, producing something special to that first checkpoint. It's all a matter of how you measure your effort over the full distance. You start too quickly, you'll pay for it, certainly over the climb towards the end. This is Lee of Singapore. And 6th place for him for the moment, 51 minutes and 11 seconds. Out in the course with Gregor Mühlberger, the Austrian rider. No change at the first check. Alex Kirsch now moving up towards the second check with the best time by 11 seconds over James Oram, who was the leader at that first check. This is the Swiss national champion going back out on course here. Now this could be an interesting time because this is Roubaix Race coming up here, challenging the time of Kirsch at this first check, and he's going to be close, but I think he's going to get inside here. This could be another new leader, and it is by 4 seconds. So Race of Portugal, Portuguese time trial champion for the past 2 years, has gone top of the leaderboard at the first check. Andreas Wangstedt of Norway started off on a very high gear there to get it rolling. He's really having to dig deep. 3rd in his home national time trial championship, 22 years of age, his last chance at this particular level of time trialing. Out on course with the Kazakhstan here. Zemliakov. So now we have Raphael Race, who is the best time at the first time check. Alex Kirsch racing towards the second. Zemliakov racing here towards the first. Now based on Menkes here, Carpenter's gone the other way. Race very much in the mix, 24 seconds quicker. Zemliakov was just watching the same time. Louis Menkes in the middle there, trying to work out what all these figures mean, I think. Young man to distinguish himself as the road race champion of South Africa, as he did in the Vuelta a España. Miguel Angel Lopez from Colombia. Terrific climber, aren't they all that come from Colombia? He won the King of the Mountains in the Tour de l'Avenir and also the overall classification of the race last year. And riders who succeed in the Tour de l'Avenir tend to become big names in the years ahead in the sport. So Lopez underway for Colombia, only 20 years of age. Did that performance at 19 in the Tour de l'Avenir. Main road bustling along from Santiago de Compostela. And here comes James Orman now, coming up towards the finish. Orman, 47.23 is the time to beat. He slipped inside and underneath Menkes now, and he's looking for the second best time, and he's going to easily get that. But he did continue to slow down when judged against Menkes after that first time check where he led him, and has come in with the second best time of 44.59.51 for James Oram. And as you can now see, the clouds have found us as well. It's absolutely pouring down on the finishing line. Well, there's the championships which have moved to September in the last couple of decades, away from August, and I think by and large they've paid the price of getting a little bit too near European winters, because they had bad weather last year in Italy as well. This is Rémi Cavagna of France, 19 years of age, and having to contemplate starting in the heavy rain now, runner-up in the National Time Trial Championships. Still waiting to see the race go through the second check, where Oram is still the best time there, but now slowed as we've seen. Cavagna underway for France. And the finishing straight hardly has a spectator there. They've all rushed away. This is Sebastian, who's just come in, and although the clocks fail to appear, his time looking across the road is 50 minutes 19 seconds, so quite a way down. 6 minutes lost to Menkes. Well, they're really catching it, but out at the checkpoint here, as you can see, it is still pretty dry at the moment. Well, I'm not too sure whether that means that we have rain in the waterworks, but we couldn't show you a clock there. But I can tell you that the time of that rider that went through is not pierced the leaderboard. Ruben Pols of Belgium in the start house, 33rd rider to go. 30 riders still to start. Leader at the finish line, Louis Menkes of South Africa, 44 minutes and 38 seconds. He's clearly gone quicker as the race got longer. Ruben Pols all ready to go. Silver medalist in the National Championships. Coming up to the line here is Prado, and this might be a good time here. Prado hits the line, 45.52 for Prado, which has put him into third place, the Mexican. A minute and 13 seconds slower than Menkes, and he was pushing Menkes in that first 12 kilometers, so clearly the young South African has accelerated, and the others have struggled a little bit. Still waiting for the start now of Ruben Pols of Belgium. And treacherous roads now. He's got to be very, very careful out on course. Now this is going to be an interesting time. Reese here is the marker at 12.2, and Semyenkov falling away a little bit. Cutting out now to have a look at Jonathan Dibben on course. Still waiting for the arrival of Alex Kirsch as the man from Qatar, Hosfeld, comes up towards the finishing line. Quite a way down, 51.5 minute time. So Hosfeld finishes in a time of 51.31, 10th place at the moment for him. Next man from Turkey to go, Feritkan Samli. 62nd in this event last year, which was pretty near the end of the table. At the finish line, it is Menkes, followed by James Oram of New Zealand and Ignacio Prado of Mexico. This is Jonathan Dibben. Well, we didn't get a time, but I can tell you that he's gone through with the second best time there at 12 kilometres. That's a very good ride. I'm sorry the clock has disappeared at the moment, but Jonathan Dibben of Great Britain, just 2.5 seconds off the time of Roubaix Race of Portugal. Von Folsack of Denmark. And the road's becoming pretty much skating rinks out there just at the moment. Alex Kirsch has slowed down. He's gone through. He's been pushed into third at the first check by Dibben. Still awaiting Kirsch. He's not due for another couple of minutes to arrive to see if he's still competing with Oram and Menkes at the second check. Well, for a 12th century castle, it kind of looks quite modern in there, doesn't it? It's the famous Templar castle here in Ponferrada, home of the Grand Master of the Queen Templar. There is the leader in the house, Menkes, smiling, probably because he's missing all the rain right now. He's seeing a lot of names here, apparently going quicker than him out on the course. Not a great sight for the riders here, as we see now another Rwandan rider here, Jean Bosco Nsengimana, having to face up not to the beautiful African heat, but to the rather chill air of Europe. Second in his home's National Time Trial Championship. Nsengimana gets underway. 35 riders now have gone. This is Kirsch arriving at that second check. How's he doing? He looks as though he may be slowing down a little bit here. He made a quick start, but he was ahead and he's fallen behind James Oram. So he too has gone out very, very quickly and looks to be paying the price. Only third now at that second check. Race is the next rider who will probably challenge the times of Oram and Menkes at that second point. This is Terry Scheer of Switzerland, Swiss time trial champion. And still three riders apparently ahead of Menkes and Rees, who's yet to come to that checkpoint. He's not far away, 35 seconds to the good. Jonathan Dibben 20 and Scheer, the man in our screen, 7. So that'll be an interesting time check for us to see. Next man in the start house, Dion Smith of New Zealand. Second in the Road Race Championship, third in the Time Trial Championship, and part of the Hincapie Sportswear Development Squad in the United States as well. And he's going just about the height of the rain at the moment. Rees is not too far away from getting through into that second checkpoint. About a minute and a half. Maruli coming up towards the finish here. Maruni from Morocco. And a pretty solid ride for him considering the conditions. Comes up to the line, 7th place for the moment, nearly 4 minutes slower than Menkes. And will be no doubt pleased to get out of the rain. 48:37.65. Next man to arrive at that check will be Roubaix Race. And he needs to be there within 1 minute to match the leaderboard. Anas El Abdia. One Moroccan finishes, another one takes the start here. Rather hoping we'll pick up Roubaix Race going through that checkpoint. He's got 50 seconds to get through it to match the time of Orum and Menkes out on course. Eita Labdia on his way. And looks like he may wear contact lenses the way he's appearing to screw his eyes up into the rain there. Most unpleasant feeling, I must say. This is Spanapoul from Greece, Spanapoulopoulos from Greece coming up. And he's going to concede 1 minute and 52 seconds. 4th place though for him, and that's a nice position to sit in at the moment. And I can tell you now, we haven't seen him go through, but Roubaix Race has gone through moments ago, the champion of Portugal with the best time at 23 kilometers, 38 seconds quicker of Orum and Menkes. That's a big margin to have in the bank as he goes into the last section of the race. So that'll take some, really will take some slowing down to concede that sort of a lead. This is the Honduras rider in the backdrop coming in, Cruz, catching the rider who started in front of him. And I think the clock might get a bit confused with 2 riders coming up to it, but at the moment it's sticking with Cruz, which is the time you can see just on the top of your picture there. He's catching Cartin of Moldova, 53:46. Well, Rees, who was the leader at the first check, Andreas Vangstedt of Norway, has just gone through there in the best time. Put 1.37 seconds into Rees. So it looks as though we might have another man setting his target, or has he made too quick a start? Next time we see Rees, he'll be coming up the home straight here. This is Facundo Lesica of Argentina. Finished 51st a year ago in this event. Back for another go. Interesting performance by Vangstedt there. Only 3rd in the National Time Trial Championship of his home country, as we now see the Croatian rider Moltar coming in. Already over 3 minutes off the time of Menkes though, and should get inside the time of David Per of Slovenia. And drops into 5th place, 47:21 for him. So Vangstedt the best time at the first check now. Rees holds best time at the second check. Menkes holds the best time that matters at the finish. This is Lopez out on course. The man who won the King of the Mountains and the overall of the Tour de l'Avenir a year ago. This is Rodriguez of Chile coming up the finishing straight. A very good ride by Rodriguez. He'll be into 4th place on the finish. 1 minute 18 seconds, 45.56. Oh, and this is a bad sign, but this has been an accident here to the Colombian rider out on course, Miguel Angel Lopez. And he's the road rider. And this is so easy to do on these roads now, especially those white lines where the wheels tend to slide away from them. Meanwhile, back in the start house, just in time to see Juan Camacho of Spain, 19 years of age, make the move. He's the time trial champion of Spain last year, only got the runner-up spot this time around. And plenty of encouragement as he moves away. No change at the checkpoint, still Vangsted at the first. He's to get to the second, where Rees is still the top name. And looking here now at Remy Cavagna of France. Have to be very cautious on these corners. Cavagna 10 seconds outside the time of Menkes just now. Vangsted 21 inside. Dibben holding at 15 in and Rees at 32 in. So it looks like Rees is staying better than Vangsted, who's still got the best time in that first check. This man not too far off a top 4 finish at the minute in time. We've seen 39 riders take off down the road. And let's have a look at the standings. This is the first check, which I've been telling you about. Andreas Vangstad of Norway, best time there at the moment by 1 minute and 37. That's quite a lot, actually. Menkes was only 9th here, but he did get quicker when he got through to the second check. David Perez is in with a high finish at the moment, only 23rd at that check as well. And the Sil River down there, little tributary off the main river here in the El Bierzo Valley. Now we should find Lucas Postelberger of Austria in the start house just in time. 61st in the event a year ago. Nobody touching the times that have gone through at the 2 checkpoints just at this moment. Vangsted still there at the finish. Menkes Orem Prado of Mexico in 3rd. This is the Belgian rider, Ruben Pols. Looks to me as though he's doing quite well here. He's enjoying the weather. Well, it is Belgian weather after all. It tends to rain a lot in Belgium. When I used to live there, it rained every day. Still the same reference points here. Vangsted, Dibben and Rees are having a battle out there. That's going to be a close race to who does take the lead off Menkes, that's for sure. As those 3 continue there. She's approaching at the finish at the 1 kilometer mark. It might well be Izgan Danarov who's coming in here from Azerbaijan. Still a little way to go towards the line. 47.53 is time at the moment. Going out to Jonathan Dibben. He's approaching 23 kilometers. He's aiming at the 2nd place time, and he should get that of James Oren. So Jonathan is keeping up a very good ride here. Goes through just 17 seconds off the time of Rees at that 2nd checkpoint. So he's lost 14 seconds, in fact, to Rees in that 2nd sector. This is Izgan Danarov coming in from Azerbaijan. the only rider from Azerbaijan in the time trial, third in his national championships. And just over 4 minutes outside of the time of Louis Meintjes. '12th place at the moment. So it's Rees, Dibben and Orem Meintjes, the 4 best at the second check. But that last sector by Louis Meintjes made a huge difference. Seeing Scott David just be launched off here, the 19-year-old, 16th in the Commonwealth Games time trial. He's the under-23 British time trial champion, and his professional team in Britain is Madison Genesis. And he was also the junior national time trial champion. He's gone through in stages here. At a great 7th place in the World Road Race Championship last year. He's underway. Velasquez heading up to the finish here, also off the leaderboard with this time. Well, I can hear the crowd applauding. It's difficult to see them under the rain, which is now pretty steady here at the finishing line. 3:15 the loss, 47.53 for Velasquez. Vankstedt holds on ahead of Rees and Dibben at the first check. At the second check, it is Rees, Dibben, Orem. So Velasquez is in. Should see the Algerian Mansouri, next man to finish there. So let's get back out on course here now. This is Carlos Ramirez of Colombia, the 42nd of the 63 riders to take the start. National champion of Colombia, third in the Pan American Championship. Still Turkey out here. This is Samli. Got himself a nice high cadence going there, I must say. First check, Samli. Let's see where I can see where he is, and he's not in the first 20 riders at the first check, so he's not upsetting the leaderboard there at all. This is the Algerian coming in to the finish now, Mansouri. As Mansouri comes up towards the finishing line here, you can see just behind him is Kasprzykiewicz of Poland, pulling him for 2 minutes. That's a very good rider by the Polish rider. It's going to be, even so, only about a 46-minute ride by the Polish rider compared to Meintjes' 44, even though he has been chasing the Algerian probably for the last half of this race. He will have spotted him, and he's just going to get him. Strange knocking of the knees together there from the Algerians. A poor style, that. Meintjes still holds his leaderboard here, and neither of these riders are going to upset him. Mansouri crosses in with a 48.24, and just about 2 minutes quicker for the Polish rider, 46.27. Now this could be interesting out on course. This is Dion Smith. First chance we've seen Dion, the other New Zealand rider, out on the race. He was 36th man out of the start house. Langstad still holding best slot there, and only 19th place there for Dion Smith of New Zealand. So Vankstedt, we're waiting to see him arrive at the second check to see if he's kept up what has been clearly a very quick start. He's due next to the checkpoint, and I'll tell you what, if he's going to be best time, he's got just about 30 seconds to get to the second check. Rees did 27.48 at that point. Kersh of Luxembourg has been up amongst the leaderboard all of the time, but seemed to slow as the race got longer. And it's going to prove that way now. He might just, and he will, get into whole third spot at the moment. He'll take over from Ignacio Prado of Mexico. Third best time, 45:35. This is the Russian rider Viktor Manakov. He's a member of the continental team Itira Katusha, which is often a feeder team to the Katusha World Tour team. It's a pretty good time trial. He's actually 6th in the Chrono Champenois, which is a top French time trial this year. Sengimana out on course for Rwanda. And Vangsted is slowing because he's now gone through, and he's only gone through in third place with a time of 28:10, losing 22 seconds to Rees. He's still ahead of Menkes though, and that's our reference point. So Vangsted 17 seconds better than Menkes. Dibben 16, so Dibben and Vangsted are starting to go head to head here, and it's Rice who looks to be the man in charge. Next time we see him, he'll be coming down to the finish. Gonzalez should be the next rider to finish. This will be Bruno Amirail of France. He's the French time trial champion. As the start orders close in on the last men, 44th man to go, 19 to go. This will be Gonzalez coming up the home straight. And the Spanish rider has done a very, very good ride here. He's still looking at the top 3 situation as he comes up to the line. The crowd have appreciated that, despite the rain making the conditions quite miserable out there. Just a little bit too far to that finish line. It won't come, will it? He keeps on looking at it and kicks again. But he's going to get in for 4th place just now. 45:45. Very good effort. Well, this is the man who's going to set the record at the moment, because Rees is aiming at 44:38. He's going to beat Louis Menkes. He's going to assume the #1 position here, the champion of Portugal, as he hits the line. Best time, 44:09. And that's the way the clocks have been telling us all the time, as Louis Menkes prepares to slip down a notch. 44 minutes, 9 seconds. Very, very good ride indeed by Race of Portugal. Well, that is a trendsetter for sure there. The national time trial champion of Portugal for the past 2 years has got himself into the hot seat now. Faglum Carlsen on the way. Swedish rider, national road race champion of Sweden, bronze medalist in the time trial championship, and 22nd in this race a year ago. So the finish now shows Rafael Reis in first place, 44 minutes and 9 seconds, an average speed of 49 kilometers an hour. I hope somebody's got a coat for him as well. Louis Menkes in second place, 29 seconds slower. James Oram of New Zealand in third place, 50 seconds down. And Alex Kirsch of Luxembourg, a minute and 26 in fourth. As we are now out on course with the Moroccan rider, Aitel Abdia. In the start house is the Algerian Adil Barbary, 21 years of age, national time trial champion of Nigeria. Of Algeria, I beg your pardon. Vangsted still the best time at the first check, but falling away at the second in favour of the man who's just finished with the best time. Barbary out on course for Algeria. And the rain showing no signs of slowing down, I'm afraid. There is a little bit of hope in the sky behind the commentary box. Camacho from Spain. He's going through the 12-kilometer check here, and 13th place for him behind Vangstedt. This is Leisica, the Argentinian. 51st in the event last year. Expecting Robin Carpenter to come in at the finishing line pretty soon. That looks like Robin Carpenter from the helicopter actually, as they get down towards the finish. Here he comes. Challenging for 4th place here to try and slip in. And no, he's lost that one, and he might just lose the next one to Gonzalez as well. As he comes up towards the line, it's going to be very, very tight indeed. He'll drop down into 6th place. Prado's his target, and he takes that. 45 of 47. 6th place so far for Carpenter. Switzerland back in the start house now with Tom Borley, a 20-year-old. Finished 32nd in the Junior World Time Trial Championship 2 years ago. Now he's going to have a crack at the under-23. This year he was runner-up in his home Time Trial Championships. Postelberger coming through now. 23-kilometer check for Postelberger. That's Robin Carpenter just crossing through the finish line. Postelberger has gone through, but he hasn't pierced the top 20 on the leaderboard. Another one of the young men of the future coming out of the United States. Part of the George Hincapie Sportswear development team. Hincapie, the man who rode 17 Tour de France and retired with the record equal. This is Camacho out on course, 19 years of age, one of the young riders in this championship. You can expect maybe to ride this at least twice more. That's not really something we want to see, is it? We'd like to see the sun back of yesterday for the team time trial. Thank heaven for the team time trial we didn't have the rain, we just had the sprinkling. Mühlberger is the next man to reach the finishing line as we go back out to watch Frederic Frison of Belgium, 22 years of age and 11th in this event a year ago. Let's see what the difference a year makes for him. This is Mühlberger of Austria coming in. Just inside the top 10 for the moment, 26.6. Italy putting out their top seed next to start. Said Lidzli, 19 years of age. Camacho still out on course here. There's the comparison based on the finish in time of Rees now, and Manakov and Camacho, the man we're looking at. Well, it seems to be on an absolute flyer, 42 seconds ahead of Rees, who's finished but in which case he really is pulling off something pretty hot down there, because he was only 14th fastest at the first check and 31 seconds behind Race. Let's see what Zemliakov can do, and he'll challenge for 7th and onwards to 8th place for him, and even worse because he's gone past Mühlberger, who's come in. He'll beat Mühlberger's time. He'll drop in 9th place. Well, Camacho could be doing something extremely special if those time results believe. Let's have a look at the arrival then of Jonathan Dibben. And as I say, still challenging for a high finish here. This has been a great ride out on the course for him. He's come through the rain with high speed, improving all of the way. He's going to get in and sit in the 2nd place here. He's going to push Louis Meintjes off 2nd into the bronze, and Dibben now sits in silver for Great Britain. That's a great ride in what is so far probably the worst conditions as he comes up to the line there. 3rd place. He was 3rd at the check out on the course, and he's now slotted in at the finish in 2nd place with 44.28, 18.9 seconds slower than the leader from Portugal. Just short of a 49 kilometers an hour average speed. Looks to me like he's got it all out today despite the weather, and produced the goods. Sits in 2nd place for Great Britain. This is the Italian Sed Lidzde, runner-up in the national championship this year, won the title a year ago. Rode the road race last year, not the time trial. He finished 55th in the road race. And do them both this time around. Thirteen riders left to go. Still out on course now after one great ride by one great British rider. This is Scott Davis here, of which big things are expected of the 19-year-old. A tough time in the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. 16th in the time trial there. 7th in the World Under-23 Road Race Championship last year, which were in Italy. Scott Davis went through the first check in 17th place, but only 32 seconds off of Vangstedt. And just going back out to the start house again. Niels Pollitt, the 20-year-old German, he's their national time trial champion and their hope of a medal today. There's no sign of this rain easing now, I don't think. It could be with us right through to the end of the time trial. And now Jonathan Dibben comes and takes his seat. 2nd place for him. Race seems to have gone AWOL there. The man is in the hot seat, Rafael Race. Probably get some dry clothes, I would think. 44.09 is time to beat Dmitry Riv of Kazakhstan, only 19 years of age. Big strong boy for 19. 8th in these time trial championships last year. We're going to have a situation of water sitting on the road now with this heavy rain continuing and staying consistent. Ramirez. Next to finish will be Denmark's Von Folser. This is the French rider here out on course. Amirai coming through at the first check, and not too impressive there. This is the Danish rider, von Fulsack, coming up towards the line. Time's already slipped by some minutes ago to trouble the leader. He'll just get into 14th place for the moment. Three minutes, 3 seconds away from the leaderboard. And just absolutely ripping up behind him here is Scheer of Switzerland. This might be a much closer thing here. He's not going to trouble the race, but he's racing for the 5th place finish, and he might just get in with it as he comes up to the line just into 5th place for Thierry Scheer. Now the next time will be the finish, will be Vangsted of Norway. He set the best time originally at the first check and then has been slowing down. He still holds the best time at that first check, by the way, Andreas Vangsted. And he started to slip away. Currently he sits with the 3rd best time, behind it Race and Dibben. So we'll see how he goes as he comes up towards the line, because here he is now. Now, has he continued to tire, or has he got a little bit stronger as the weather has got worse here? He's still on a very good ride. He's outside the best time at the moment. He's on 44.24, which is going to put him also, as we can now see here, racing for 3rd place in the time of Meintjes. He might just get inside Louis Meintjes' time, and he has. So Meintjes is off the podium for South Africa now, as Vangsted goes in to the bronze medal position. The Portuguese rider there, looking quite unconcerned, but I think deep down his tummy must be churning here. A real chance of a gold medal in the time trial. Vangsted suffered after that first check. He started out perhaps a little bit too quickly, but he's holding 3rd place. This is the Scandinavian compatriot, Andersen. Søren Krag of Denmark is the Danish time trial champion. 52nd man to go of the 63 on the card. And still the same order as of the arrival of Andreas Vangsted. Race, Dibben, Vangsted. Malakoff. There's 3 riders here, all indicating they are quicker than Race. Frison. Oh, they're pluses, so they're slower than Race at the moment. This is Marian Zmorka of the Ukraine. '15th in 2013, and he was actually 6th in 2012, so it'll be his 3rd time. He's still only 21 years of age. Current champion of the Ukraine. This is Amirai, 20-year-old time trial champion of France. Waiting for the arrival of Camacho at the 2nd check, because he'll be significant. And in fact, he's come through, and I think that put our GPS a little at odds, because he's only gone through with the 12th best time at 23.3 kilometers, so he's not improving as much as indicated. And he's not going to close down on that race now, because he's 1 minute and 13 seconds at that check. This is Lopez coming in. Colombian already slipped away from the leaderboard here. His time currently 45.38. And he's going to be just about out of the top 10 riders here, but in fact a bit more than that, because he's still got a little way to run up to the line. Last minute sprint for Lopez as he comes home here. It's an awful long way to go to keep a place in the top 20 at the moment, because there's only a few seconds between each of the riders. Mühlberger of Austria is his next target, and he should get inside 46.26 as he comes down the centre of the road here in Ponferrada. Is he going to get inside? No, he's not. He's just missed out. 14th place for Lopez, 46.27. So for the man that clearly has fallen and remounted, he's recovered to finish quite strongly. Now, this is Willy Schmidt of South Africa. The All African Time Trial Championships last year he was runner-up. He's a member of the Vini Fantini Nippo Continental team, professional team. And he's the other entry for South Africa. This is the situation, still standing at 12.2. Bangstead, who's come in and currently is third, was still the best time there ahead of Rees, who's now sitting on first place. As we show you right down, Louis Menkes only ranking 11th there. Scott Davis down as well at 18th and not improving too much on course either. Well, they're live pictures from our helicopter, and you see the clouds are right down in the mountains on top of us at the moment. Now to Ireland, Ryan Mullen here. We'll just see if Ryan can do something special. National Road Race Champion, National Time Trial Champion for the past 2 years, an en-post rider, professional, and people are expecting something rather special from Ryan. Back in 2012, he finished 9th in the Junior Time Trial, and he's got a fine body frame on him there as he starts off in the inclement weather that we've got here. This is Armeret coming in. No, it's not. It's the other Frenchman, Cavagna. And again, as he comes up the straight here, struggling to hold the top 20 place, but he will do that. Ron Folsak of Denmark with a 47.12. Too far away from Cavagna. Eased up a little bit before the wrong line there, in fact, but 17th it is. Expect to see Scott Davis coming through at 23.3 kilometers very shortly. And his time is already indicating is, in fact, as I'm speaking, he's just gone through in 18th place at 23.3 kilometers with a time of 29 minutes and 15 seconds. This is Karlsson of Sweden on course, National Road Race Champion. Watch out for him at the weekend. Still no changes from the riders now reaching that 12.2 kilometer check. It's still Bangstead, Race, Dibben, Frison and Kirsch remain in the top 5. Viktor Manakov, the Russian time trialist, has just gone through and he set the 6th best time at that first check. This is Pols coming home for Belgium, challenging at the 13th place and getting it. And back to Kazakhstan with Viktor Okishev, the Asian time trial champion, underway. Heidi Barbary of Algeria, heading towards the first check. Still no challenges coming. Looking at the reference there now, Barbary is 2 minutes down, Anderson 6 seconds up on Race. Well, we'll see how they come in, because this little climb that we don't see, unfortunately, because our cameras are committed all over the course, is only shallow, but it does hurt the riders in the last 3 kilometers. Still no change at 12.2. Vangsted, Race and Dibben. Race, Dibben, Vangsted is the order still standing at 23 kilometers. And Race, Dibben, Vangsted is the order in the finish. Steven Lammertink of the Netherlands, 20 years of age and 34th here 1 year ago. He was third in the World Junior Road Race in Denmark in 2011. Just 6 riders left to start now. Clearing skies, but still raining pretty heavily. This is Viktor Manakov, going through to the 23-kilometer check, but he's off the leaderboard here. Goes through in 7th best time at this point, and he's still 20 riders up behind him. Tom Burley of Switzerland. One minute 13 conceded to the man at the finishing line, still giving Anderson a 4-second advantage over Race. But he's still a long way to go. Into the last 6 starters now. Maximilian Schachmann of Germany. Third in the World Junior Time Trial Championships, which were in Holland, in Valkenburg 2 years ago. Now he's 20 years of age, is in the under-23 category, seeing if he can repeat with a great time trial today. He was 12th here at the first attempt last year. This is the arrival of Samli of Turkey, but already he's 4 minutes off the pace on the clock on the finish line, so he's going to be pretty much down the field as he comes up towards the line. Aiming at 29th place, and will comfortably take that as he comes up towards the line. With a time of 49.4 seconds for Samli of Turkey. Soren Andersen, who appears to be challenging, at least on the GPS, the man at the finish line, is now approaching the 12.2 kilometer check. He's not there yet. Well, this now coming up to the line here is the arrival of Dion Smith, and he's really giving the finishing straight There's some big effort as he comes up towards the line here, but his time's already outside, but it's still not a bad time. He's in the 45-minute bracket, aiming at Robin Carpenter and slipping out of that, and he'll slip out of the top 10 at the moment as Dion Smith comes up to the line now, looking for 11th place just for now. 45.55 for him. Now this is the time we're all looking for now. Anderson out on course at 12.2 kilometers. He's looking to beat the 14.03 of Vangsted here, and in fact you see he's slipping away there, 7 seconds behind now for Anderson, which makes me wonder a little bit about those references. The arrival of the Sengiman now coming up here for Rwanda. .48 minutes and 35. Top 30 place for him at the moment. He's showing us what a pretty good sprinter he is when he actually gets on the road bike. And he's just going to get into 30th place for the time being. Dion Smith actually caught him on the way for 2 minutes. So Anderson only in 6th place at that first time check. Back out to the start house, Taylor Eisenhart, the 20-year-old American and the national time trial champion of the USA. He was 10th when he rode in the World Junior Championships 2 years ago. And now he gets to start in the seeded riders just from the end now. 5 more to go. 4 more to go. As Eisenhart breaks out. Still no challenges at 12.5 then to Vangsted, Race or Dibben. Frederic Frison, another man who's been indicated to be slightly up on the man who's finished. He's riding at 24 minutes. But Frison was 4th at the first check and was conceding to the man at the finish at just about 4 seconds, slightly less than 4 seconds. So if he has kept this up, when he gets to the 23 kilometer checkpoint, it could give us a very interesting indication as to how he's doing. Going out, this will be Carlson of Sweden here, I think. No, it won't be. To the Merck now, it's getting hard to recognize them at all. It is it's Smorka who's gone through there. Marlon Smorka of the Ukraine. Very, very similar yellow and blue colours with the Swedish team. And down the ramp goes Evchenko of Russia. He's made the start. Just trying to find out what happened to Smorka there at that check. He's gone through with the 11th best time. So he's still half a minute away from the leaderboard at that first time check. This now is 8L Abdi coming up towards the finish. And quite a way, some 3 minutes off the pace of the leader at the moment. .47.51 outside the top 25 riders here, just in 24th, 47.56. Campbell Flakemore from Australia takes the start here now. 4th in this event last year. The unlucky man not to medal. He took it well, I have to say. But he is a very, very good developing time trial rider. He won the prologue this year, the Tour de l'Avenir. That gave him the race lead for a day. And he also finished 2nd in the Oceania Time Trial Championships. And Campbell Flakemore could well deliver something special here. This is the Psyker coming in to the finishing line, but again 2 minutes off the pace for him. And he also will just about make the top 20. He's got a little bit in hand over von Folsack of Denmark. So the Argentinian, for the moment at least, top 20 situation for him. 2:53 off the leaderboard. And coming in hot on his heels now, and let's see, now this is Camacho, who at times was being timed up against the leaders on the GPS, but as you can see now, way off the pace here, aiming for only the 6th finish. Spain will cheer him all the way up the home straight, of course. But he's not going to get Shear's time. He's just going to be behind that and behind Alex Kirsch's, and he takes his teammates' time from Gonzalez. 45.35. Going back out at the 12-kilometre check here. Looks like Ryan Mullen that we saw there, but I couldn't... they've given us a slow motion of the finish of Camacho, but I think that was Ryan Mullen heading up through that checkpoint. And as he's gone through with the best time. That wasn't a good time to leave that picture, because now I can see here at the check at 12.2 kilometres, the Irish rider Ryan Mullen has knocked Andreas Vangsted off the leaderboard with a 13 minutes 42 second performance, the only rider to break the 14-minute barrier at that first check. So Ryan Mullen is on a flyer there. This is out to 23 kilometres, and Frison has gone through only 4th to Rees, so he's slowing down. Well, there was a lot of talk that Ryan Mullen would deliver today, and the first indications are he will. 13.42, the first ride inside 14 minutes at the first checkpoint. Martinelli, the last but one rider to go, won the points competition in the Tour de l'Avenir this year. 29th in this competition last year. This is Postelberger from Austria. Should be okay for 6th place as he drives up towards the line, for the moment at least. 45.15 for him. There's only one rider left to go now, Stefan Kung of Switzerland, winner of the Tour of Normandy this year, and next year will join the BMC World Tour team, a team which he saw yesterday take the gold medal in the team time trial. He will be the last man to go. And there he is in the start house, the European road and time trial champion, and yet only 2nd in his own country's time trial championship, and winner of the Tour of Normandy. He closes down the starters, all 63, and now it's a matter of seeing who can take the gold medal. And at the moment, Ryan Mullen is the latest man to have passed through at 12.2 kilometres. 55 riders of the 63 have gone through that point. He has the best time there. The man who's got the best time at the finish, Raphael Rice, he's now down to 3rd best time at that first check. Starting slowly might have been the answer for Race, because the actual rain has started since then. And of course you've got the little hill towards the end, so if you start to sap of strength, it's going to get you. 48 riders are through at the second check, and it's still Race ahead of Jonathan Dibben of Great Britain, and Vangsted fell away to 3rd place there from Norway. And at the finish, of course, it's still Race, Dibben, Vangsted, Menkes. This is Lisda of Italy. Two new problems there, Ryan Mullen and Evtushenkov, both showing better times at this point on the GPS comparison. Here comes the arrival of Scott Davis here, with his time already over 45 minutes and 30 seconds, which is going to put him outside of any hopes of a top finish here. He's aiming at 7th at the moment. And Scott Davis, the Madison Genesis rider, coming up towards the finishing line here. His teammate Jonathan Dibben still retaining a second place at the finish, and for Scott, he's going to slot in 12th for the moment, 45.51. This is Lamertink that we're seeing now out on course. He was the 7th rider from the end to go. Now, how's he going to stand up against Ryan Mullen? And the answer is not very well here. Mullen's time of 13.42 is the only time inside 14 minutes. Lamertink goes through 38 seconds off that in 10th place. There's only 6 riders left to come through that first checkpoint. Polit, who's over a minute back there now. Mullen 9 seconds to the good on the GPS. Evtushenko, the Russian rider, also now apparently level with Mullen, as the GPS has tagged them together here. That's going to make a sprint finish between those two. They're riding quite a long way apart on the road, some almost 10 minutes apart when they started, so there's no danger of them knowing what each other's doing. This is Niels Pollitt of Germany, the national time trial champion. And he hasn't pierced the leaderboard at all at the first 12-kilometer check. A little bit surprised about that. This is the sight down through the last kilometer here. This will be Ramirez coming up from Colombia. And as Ramirez comes up, Carlos Ramirez. National time trial champion, 3rd in the Pan American Championships as well. He's only 19 years of age, Carlos Ramirez. 46 minutes at the moment though. He's going to be embedded in the center of the finishing line with that time. And he looks a little bit sluggish now. He's rather glad to get this over. Sat down, changed the gears, kicked again. Those legs, I think, have had enough of the bad weather. You can feel the pain from the television. As Carlos Ramirez comes in, he's just going to get the better, perhaps, of Cavagna of France with a little bit more effort. Yes, just inside. 22nd, 46.46. And boy, that hurt. Manakov not too far behind him, actually. Must have had him in his sights. Maybe you can sense it, because here he comes, the Russian rider, Viktor Manakov. Again outside of the leaderboard just at the moment at 45.15. It comes over with the 7th best time, almost caught up there with the Colombian. Still no change at 12.2 kilometers. Next rider through there will be Taylor Eisenhart, who is the 5th from the end, national time trial champion of the USA. And he's already outside the best time of Ryan Mullen for Taylor Eisenhart at the first check, but he hasn't got there yet. Ryan Mullen now 2 seconds outside of Rees. Is he slowing down? Flakemore is doing very well. We're waiting to see his time at the check. 3 seconds quicker. This is that check now, and this is Eisenhart coming to it, and as you can see, he's already outside the time of Mullen, and James Oram at 10th place now has also passed through. So Taylor Eisenhart dropping out at that point, about 13th place I think they settle for at that point on the course, just over 12 kilometers covered. And we've only got 4 riders to come through, and 2 interesting names in Evtushenko and Flakemore, who seem to be challenging the leader in the finish house. This is Andersen, who is the national time trial champion of Denmark, but seems to be slowing down a little bit here. At 48.2 kilometers an hour, he would be off the top 20 riders on the leaderboard. And there he is at 1 minute plus seconds. Flakemore at 3, Evtushenko at 5, both up on Rees at this point. Both still to arrive at the 12 kilometer check, and Evtushenko must be almost there. And it might be a bit early to tell the world that you've won the time trial championship, but he looks confident in the centre there. Portuguese rider is one of the closest countries to where we're sat here. Portugal, just not too far away at all. Now here is Evtushenko, looking at second place at the moment, so he's maintained some challenge here, although he has slowed a little bit as well. He's going to go chasing Rees, and that's the one who's got the best time now. Dibben, he's just gone in ahead of Jonathan Dibben there with 14:05. This is Marian Zmorka, a 21-year-old time trial champion of the Ukraine. He's heading up towards the second check at the minute, and he's not featuring at all on the first checkboard. 137 down, also away from the top 20 riders. But an interesting newcomer now, Stefan Kung, has come in for Switzerland, the last man to start, chasing Flakemore and Martinelli and Evtushenko. So there's a lot of riders making quicker starts than a race, that's for sure. Just see now, next man through will be Flakemore as we go towards the finish here now for the arrival of Amarai of France. It looks like he's got a bit of a problem here, because that is Karlsson of Sweden, I think, who's come up behind him. And that means he's bridged 2 minutes on Amarai. It'll still be a 45-minute ride by the Swedish rider. There he is. Karlsson is the rider in the background we're counting on. As Amarai sprints for the line, he's going to get in 47-44, and right behind him Karlsson comes in 45-47, almost completing the catch. This is Campbell Flakemore now, going for the 12 kilometer time point. A time of Mullen 13:42. Flakemore's right in there, second place, 20 seconds off the pace, 14:02 for Campbell Flakemore. So he's lived up to his starting time there, and don't forget he's also ahead of the man who's showing the best time in Rafael Rees by 2 seconds at that point. This is Willy Smit of South Africa, 10th man from the end of the list. And Willy Smit went through the check in 18th place, 42 seconds off Ryan Mullen, with only two riders left to go through that check now, David Martinelli and Stefan Kung. Smit here trying to make his way with Vino Fantino. Good rider. Thought he was going to retire, then seemed to come back again into the action. But Kung and Mullen are still holding slight advantages, but absolutely nothing in it. And I must say that Race is looking extremely calm with himself there. This is now Ryan Mullen here, and we're heading towards the 23.3. Now this is going to be the next marker on the board here. It looks like he's hanging in well, Ryan Mullen, because he's going to go through with the best time at the second check as well. 27.42 for the Irishman. And now he's got just the sticky section. The rain has eased quite a bit out there. Roads are staying very, very wet. But that is a tremendous performance by Ryan Mullen. His first check has been confirmed with the second check as he goes through again as best time. There's only 2 riders due at the first check now, and that's David Martinelli and Stefan Kung. And Martinelli's just gone through. Well, Flakemore's in second place. Martinelli's gone through in only 12th place. So it's only left now to Stefan Kung to complete the first check, where Ryan Mullen is still top of the leaderboard by 20 seconds over Campbell Flakemore. Mullen looking very, very solid indeed here. Rock steady. Riding down the centre of the highway. Not too centre with that white line sitting there. I'm waiting for the last man to start, Stefan Kung, to see if he can rival the time of Ryan Mullen at that checkpoint. This will be Karlsson of Sweden, I think. Yes, Switzerland coming in here at the moment. And this is the last kilometre towards the finish. Tom Borley into the last kilometre, long way out yet, and time already is ticked by at 45 minutes, so he's going to be nearer 47 minutes when he comes across the line. Well, Kung has got to pass through in less than 10 seconds. You can't see him and neither can I, but I do have the advantage of watching a computer when I can work it all out. There's times in every direction. We're watching Bowley finish. But Kung is not going to go through with the best time because it's gone by and he's still not arrived. So Ryan Mullen will stay best time at the first check. All riders are through there now as Bowley comes up towards the line here. 46 minutes has passed by. It's a long way up to this line. And Kung has gone through in 4th position. So Ryan Mullen heads the leaderboard at 12.2 kilometres. Bowley comes in and crosses the line in 20th place, 46.14. Watching the arrival now of the Algerian rider here out on course as well. We've seen and a little bit of a battle going on because in the backdrop there is Frederick Frieson, and that could be a more interesting time as Frieson rides. He's gone through the time of 44.37 and counting. So he's missed out on the medals now because he's aiming at the 5th place. Another man that was referenced to be close to Rice has dropped away here. And as Frison comes up, he's just inside for 5th place at the moment. Next man in should be Lisda. And Frison had caught the Algerian rider almost there for 4 minutes. So at the first check then, confirmed now, Ryan Mullen best time at 13.42, Campbell Flakemore 20 seconds slower, Andreas Vangsted also 20 seconds, and Stefan Kung at 21 seconds, and the man who's got the best time at the finish, Rice was 5th there, 22 seconds off the pace. Waiting now for those riders to establish it. Still Ryan Mullen at the second check, 27.42. Looking here at Viktor Okishev, who is actually on, it might be Dmitry Reeve actually that we're looking at. No, it is Okishev we're looking at the moment. He's riding 2 minutes behind Mullen, and Mullen is the only one now showing a plus time on Rees. Kung has also dropped away here after that first start. But the Irishman is more than holding his own right now. He's through the 2 checks. He's racing towards the finish. He's a little way to go yet. This rider, Viktor Okishev, 52nd in this series last year. is still also riding behind Ryan Mullen. Well, the clouds are still around as we pick out the town of Ponferrada. First time the World Championships have ever been here. We now pick up the arrival here of the man from Netherlands, Lammertink, Steven Lammertink. He's going through at 23.3 in 16th place. Minute 13 behind Ryan Mullen. Well, this could be an amazing upset if Ryan Mullen can keep this up. The Irish have never medalled in the under-23 World Time Trial Championships, and that could all change today. He was the name on a lot of people's lips yesterday to watch out for what he would do when he got to grips with the under-23 time trial. Schachman, Maximilian, 12th in this event. He's the 6th rider from the end. He's 2 minutes behind Steven Lammertink, so he's going to be very close to getting through that time check now. Second in the team in the national championships. This is the standings confirmed now and finished with at 12.2. Mullen, Flakemore, Vangsted were the top 3 riders there. And we've got 6 riders left to go through the second check, where Ryan Mullen is also setting the trend now. And Schachman's just gone through with the 5th best time, Maximilian Schachman of Germany, conceding 37 seconds to Mullen and 32 to the man who's got the best time at the finish. This is now the arrival of Lisdy. And he's way off the pace here. He won't be at all happy with this. Only the road race last year. Finished midfield in the main pack and had a go at the time trial this time around, but it's only going to be 28th at the moment and probably a little bit less by the end of the day. The German rider Niels Pollitt coming up now, almost catching his man for 2 minutes here. So a considerable higher finish for him as Pollitt comes up to the line. He'll slot in 8th place, 45.17. Next man to arrive should be Dmitry Reev of Kazakhstan. Waiting for Taylor Eisenhart, the American now, to come through. Be a little bit longer for him as we're looking at him right here. He's heading towards the check. His time has already gone outside the time of Ryan Mullen. Mullen now seems to be pulling away here on this reference on everybody. Taylor Eisenhart off the pace at a minute 30, so he's not going to make any difference to the leaderboard. And the leader here, Race, looks pretty cool, calm and collected, but he must be worried now about the ride of the Irishman. Steven Lammertink moving on now into the last sector of this time trial. Through these very slick roundabouts here. The Dutchman 17th at the second check. Still a long way off here, minute 13 down. He's the national time trial champion of Holland, and he got a great 3rd place in the junior road race at the World Championships when they were in Denmark in 2011. Mullen still continues to push on here, and I have to say that Stefan Kung appears to be slowing down. 23 seconds over now. As Lammertink continues, we're waiting for the arrival of Dmitry Reev. We've seen Pollitt just finish. Still showing 29 seconds. 30 it is in favour of Ryan Mullen. A little bit of history in the making, perhaps. Might be a bit too early to say that. Things can go wrong on that last little climb coming into the finish. But that is so far so good for the Irishman. Tremendous riding. He looks rock solid on the occasion we do get to see him. Eisenhart well off the pace at the second check. He's not quite there yet, but he will be soon. And also the next man through, Evtushenko, won't match the time of Ryan Mullen either. He hasn't got there, but his time is already past the time of Ryan Mullen. So that leaves just Flakemore, Martinelli and Stefan Kung to get through to that second check on the road. Here it is, Evtushenko. And Taylor has gone through the check, but completely off the leaderboard, as he would be, because he's well over a minute behind. Evtushenko. He's closing in fact, on Taylor Eisenhart, this rider. But even so, still way down. This is now back up to the finish. And this is actually Soren Andersen who's coming up to the line now. He must have caught Dimitri Reeve for 2 minutes. That's a good ride. 44.50. There's still a long way to go, so he'll be into 45.25, something like that, as he comes up this home straight. Soren Andersen, the time trial champion of Denmark, giving it all the way to the line here. Still looking for the 7th place. It might just catch him out. Still a long way to go. And then it appears to descend rapidly. He should come up to the line and claim the 10th spot for the minute for Soren Andersen of Denmark. And in fact he didn't by a fraction of a second. He's crossed the line in 11th position, 45.34. Well, still waiting for the arrival of Flakemore now. Evtushenko went through that checkpoint in 12th place. It's all oaring well out on the course for Ryan Mullen just at this moment in time. This is the Ukrainian's Marian Smorka making his finish here. And not a great time. It's going to be around about 49 minutes. Oh, I beg your pardon. They've gone back to the Kazakh who was caught, Dimitri Reeve, coming home here. And Smorka must be very close behind him now for 4 minutes, I would think, as Reeve comes up here. And of the 52 riders finished, it's only going to be 41st place at the moment for Reeve. Campbell Flakemore goes through in 3rd place behind Ryan Mullen and Raphael Rees. A 20-second spread over the 3 riders at that check. Only 1 rider expected there. 2 riders, Martinelli and Stefan Kung. The only 2 men left to go through that 2nd check. Back here with Stephen Lamertink. On the bike of a very famous man, Eddie Merckx. And Eddie Merckx here in Ponferrada. As we now pick up Campbell Flakemore out on course here, showing the 3rd best time at the 2nd check. And having just left that check where he got to it in 28.03, he's now running for the finish. That short climb and the rapid, rather slippery descent down to the last kilometre to follow. Martinelli, he will be the next man to arrive at the check, and already past the time of Ryan Mullen. This is Smorka now coming in here, gritting his teeth, but still just inside the top 22 riders for the Ukrainian. '24th, 46.17. South African Willie Smith should be the next man to get into our finishing area. Well, Martinelli is nowhere near, he hasn't gone through, but his time has gone well past the time of the top three. And just checking on Stefan Kung here, he's got to be there in 1 minute's time to set the best time at that second check. And Ryan Mullen is the next rider we expect to see come in, and that's going to set the marker. This is Martinelli out on course here. A little bit of a speed wobble on there. He's gone through though with only the 20th time. So he's not rocking any ships out in the rain, I'm afraid. Martinelli, points winner in the Tour de l'Avenir this year, but in 20th place at the second check. Now we're waiting for the arrival now of Ryan Mullen, and here he is. The clock has just gone through 43.5 minutes. So this is the time he's looking for. He's got to beat 44.09. The time of Rees. He's going to absolutely blow it out of the water here at 100 meters to go to the line now. The Irishman has done everything possible here. It's been a terrific ride, leading at all of the checkpoints. 18 seconds of the good. 43.50 for Ryan Mullen. A new leader in the house, and every indication it could be the first ever gold medal by an Irishman in the under-23 men's time trial. We still have to wait and see on that one. Terrific ride by Ryan Mullen as he's come in having led at all points. Just one rider, Stefan Kung, to go through at the 23-kilometer point, and in fact he's just gone through and he occupies the fourth best time, 22.9 seconds slower than the man on our screens here, Ryan Mullen. So it's Mullen, Race, Flakemore and Kung, the order at the second check. Now will it be confirmed at the finish? Oof. A little shrug of admiration there from the Portuguese champion, I think, as everybody moves round one. And Jonathan Dibben of Great Britain drops into the bronze medal position, while Andreas Bankstead goes off the podium. He's the last man now carrying number one, Stefan Kung of Switzerland. He's still in with a chance here. He gets a last good few kilometers. Just looking here, rather labouring style here, because Stephen Lamertink is now on this nasty little drag before he starts to race down towards the finish. He started 4 minutes behind Ryan Mullen, who finished in 43.50. This little climb here really upsets the rhythm of the pure time trialist. But he comes from a road racing background, Stephen Lamertink. The stop-go of cycle racing is so different to the time trial. All Mullen can do now is watch and wait. One thing seems to be assured: Ireland have got themselves a first ever medal and a podium in the World Championships here in the under-23 category. There's 8 riders left to cross the line, including David Martinelli here. Now we're referencing Mullen, and those signs are rather good, aren't they, for the Irishman? Kung at 26 seconds, Martinelli in our picture at 1 minute 28. Well, there's no way Martinelli's going to climb back into the picture. He's now out in 21st position at the last check. He splashes through the water a little bit now, but the rain has gone off here. Incredible ride, 43 minutes to 50 seconds. It's just short of 50 kilometers an hour. This is Stefan Kung. And he's got just 12 minutes to get to the finish. Job done as Ryan Mullen moves into the throne. Waits to see what is his. On his right is Jonathan Dibben, and off our camera is Roubaix Race. 20 years of age, 9th in the junior time trial in 2012. Shaking hands there with Jonathan. Coming up to the line now is Viktor Okishev. And just trying to hold on to a place in the top 20, and that's not going to happen. Willie Smith in 22nd place there, passes through. Should just get over the line ahead of Pulse of Belgium and takes 24th for the moment of the 56 who have finished the ride. Next man in will be this rider, Steven Lamertink. Already well past the time of Ryan Mullen, 43.50 for Ryan. And still just on a kilometre to go, so he's probably around about another minute to add. As he comes up, the champion of Holland, pushing on, and he's the 7th from the end of all of the riders to come in here now. Nothing indicating that Mullen's time is going to be surpassed. He's got an 18.8 second advantage over the Portuguese rider Rice, 37 over the British rider Jonathan Dibben, and 44 over Andreas Vangstedt. They really are huge time margins over such a short distance of 36 kilometres. Lamertink coming in with a 45-minute ride. But in this region, the clock and the placings drop down rather rapidly. But he might well just sneak 11th place here from Scheer. Yes, he has. 45.28 for Steven Lamertink. 6 riders to come. Next should be Max Schachmann of Germany. His time already has gone by the time of Mullen as well. Mullen's time 43.50. At the moment he's 44 dead for this rider as he comes into our sights. And he's certainly packing quite a hard finish here. He's pushing all the way to the end. Looking for the bronze medal. Is he going to take Jonathan Dibben off the podium here? It's going to be desperately close for Jonathan Dibben if he keeps this up. It's been a fine last few kilometres for Max Schachmann. But I think he might just fall just a fraction short here. Dibben can breathe this. Oh, and he can't. He's gone a fraction faster. He's into the bronze medal. 44.27 for the German, who was 3rd in the World Junior Time Trial 2 years ago when they were in Valkenburg in Holland. So Schachmann comes in with a 44.27.8. Well, that really is bad luck for Dibben. Just a shaving of a second. 54 hundredths of a second, the difference between Dibben and Schachmann. No worries, I don't think, from David Martinelli here. 2nd in the European Championship time trial and the current Italian time trialing champion, under 23. And that makes good reading if your name is Ryan Mullen, because a minute 44 is huge. It won't be the same case with Campbell Flatemore, as we see here. And Flatemore is just 15 seconds, and he is motoring, and he is a real danger, this man. He's in an element at time trialing. He was unlucky last year. He was the 4th man to finish off the podium in the timings. Now, can he put matters to rights here? He's 22. He won't be riding the under 23 category next year. As Flakemore here now just tries to improve. 13 seconds. It's going to be desperate. This boy is now really turning up the power here. He's coming into the hill, over the hill. Very, very well indeed. He's about to go down the other side there as Schachmann takes his place. So at the finish, it's Mullen, Race, Schachmann, Dibben now. going back out on course. Campbell Flakemore. No more time checks now. Flakemore, when he came through, was 20 seconds slower than Ryan Mullen at the last check we had, and now we're seeing our GPS saying he's 13 seconds slower. It's going to be a nail-biting finish, this one. Makes the right turn now as he turns towards the finishing road. Safely around it. Some English voices shouting go, go, go here as he works his way up through the gears. 18 seconds the difference between Mullen and Race, and we could be watching Campbell Flakemore at least claim a silver with this performance if he keeps this up. Just relying heavily on the accuracy of our technology, but it's telling us that this man is gaining. Very dangerous descent this, especially in the wet. There are some gentle descenders in the team time trials. We race down towards a roundabout where we had that crash yesterday in the team time trial amongst the Dutch women, and it's frustrating because you want to go quicker but you can't. 2 kilometers out. Now it's through the gears. Pedal as hard as you can, get down towards the roundabout, watch the flick around, and then on to the last kilometre of the ride. Meanwhile, this is the arrival of Taylor Eisenhart here, who slipped away from the leaderboard. He's over 3 minutes out now, or will be 3 minutes out. Mullen's 43.50 there. Eisenhart looking in outside the 30s here, as he comes up in the last 150 meters towards the line. The American Taylor Eisenhart just finishes there 46.27, 2 minutes 36 down on Ryan Mullen. 4 riders left to finish. Next man in will be Evtushenko. But it's more about the rider, Campbell Flakemore. He does seem to be the only man on course now to affect the result. Martinelli lost too much time. Another 3 minutes and he'll be already behind the leader, and he's still 2.5 kilometers from the finish. Evtushenko is the next rider to come in, as we expect. And here he is now, the tall lanky Russian, turning into the home straight, 19th in 2013, and I think we'll find he's improving that. But look at this, for 2 minutes the bridge. Campbell Flakemore's got himself a nice carrot now to grab those seconds and chase him down. Our camera's going to concentrate on Flakemore here. There's the time, 43.50. It's been a desperate last few kilometres for Campbell Flakemore. He's got the added attraction now of chasing here the rider in front of him, Evtushenko, as 43.50 his target. Is he going to get it? You can see the finish, but can he actually cross in time? And the answer is going to be yes, he can. He has stolen it with a tremendous ride, and Mullen cannot believe what he's seeing. What a return that has been by Campbell Flakemore, and the dream games go on for the Australians. A gold in the women this morning and a gold in the men this afternoon, and gone the disappointment of a year ago when Campbell Flakemore took the 4th place and no medal. What a closing time that was, because at the check out at 23 kilometres he had to shut down 20.18 seconds in those last few kilometres to the line, and he's done it. And he's done it by the narrowest of margins, because his final time, 43.49.94, is just 48 hundredths of a second to the good. And I can imagine how Ryan feels. 48 hundredths, unbelievable. Well, in the old days of hand timing, we'd have had a dead heat, as simple as that. Awful shame. Ireland robbed of the first ever gold medal, but hey, they're still going to get the first ever medal in the under-23 World Championships time trial. And it's something of an anti-climax to go out on course to pick up Davy Martinelli. No disrespect to this man who won the points competition in the Tour de l'Avenir stage race, but he hasn't reproduced the form that got him 2nd place in the European Championships. He's just making the descent down 2 kilometers out, slightly inside maybe, and there you can see. And the King also losing ground here, but that finish by Flakemore was unbelievable. He did take risks down here. He didn't appear to as we followed him down. This is Kung now out on course. He's chasing Martinelli rather, down the hill. And it's probably got him in his sights there, because that's the team card of Martinelli been pulled off. So Stefan Kung has the attraction of the Italian up front of him. But let's see now, the arrival of Campbell Flakemore. Oh boy, that hurt. Is there any relief from the pain? Well, Flakemore pulled out something very, very special today. As he sits in the gold medal position, there's only one man who can get near him, and that is Stefan Kung. So it's a medal for Mullen, it's a medal for Flakemore. Kung can perhaps spoil the party, and it would be for Roubaix Race, who's been a part of this competition since he left the start house, setting the trend all of the way. 10 seconds it says to Flakemore. Are we going to see a Flakemore finish with Stefan Kung here? This is Martinelli, but take your eyes to the back of the picture, because that is Stefan Kung of Switzerland coming up here now. 9 seconds, they are saying the difference. As Flakemore is sitting watching these pictures and seeing the references as well. Martinelli, his time really is of little importance now. He's about to get caught by the last man to start, the man who next year will ride for Team BMC in the World Tour. He is a very, very promising young Swiss rider at only 20 years of age. And he's finishing with a real flourish here. He's not going to get up to Martinelli, but he's not going to be far behind him either. He's on 43.37 at the moment. The time of Mullen is 43.50, and the time of Flakemore is 43.49. Now it'll switch rapidly to see the arrival here of the last man in this under-23 World Championship. 43.53 has passed by, and so too has the gold medal. As he just gets inside, he knocks Rees off. After all of that, the Portuguese rider finishes only fourth. Campbell Flakemore moves from fourth a year ago to the gold medal, and Australia stay on top in these World Championships. Tremendous performance. And after the exhaustion, the disbelief, he's actually won. And Stefan Kung came good in the end to claim third place with 43.59, with this great effort again in the closing kilometres. And the tally of gold medals just keeps stacking up at the moment for Australia. That's 2 golds, 2 silvers and a bronze that they've now won in 2 days of competition. But the Swiss has done well, salvaging a third place there, just 9.22 seconds at the end behind Campbell Flakemore, and 8 3/4 seconds behind Ryan Mullen. Time to get ready for the ceremony here. There's the confirmation of the result of the World Championship for under-23 men. Campbell Flakemore gets the gold that eluded him last year. Ryan Mullen gives Ireland a first ever medal in these championships in this particular discipline. Stefan Kung gets a third place for Switzerland, and the unlucky Rafael Reis of Portugal in the end was pushed out into fourth place, and wait for this, by 1/10 of a second. Well, there's the big finishing effort. He was determined. Incredibly good performance, because at the first check he was not, let me just take you through the checks here, because Campbell Flakemore was second, 20 seconds behind Ryan Mullen at the first check. At the second check he dropped to third place, but still 20 seconds behind Ryan Mullen. And then the acceleration, he finished 48 hundredths ahead. Incredible show of defiance. James Oram in the end, right up amongst it all of the way, took 10th place. Top Spanish rider Camacho, 18th for him. Scott Davis down there in 24th. In all, 63 riders classified after the start today, and what a nail-biting finish that was. 48/100ths of a second. And if I tell you now the sun's just come out and the rain has stopped in the last 5 seconds or so, that just about crowns off an incredible day. Australia have taken both gold medals today. It was Macy Stewart this morning in the women, and now it's Campbell Flakemore.
Congratulations. What an incredible race. Just 1 second difference with the second, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I knew the first 2 time checks. I was 15 seconds down on Ryan, and I just knew I had to leave a lot in the tank for that last climb, and I think I must have got a fair bit of time back on in the last 5K. So yeah, I'm just so happy. It's so good.
How was the last descent? Not too slippery with the rain?
I took it real easy. I didn't want to crash 2K from the finish, and I saw the junior girls go down there in the rain this morning, and it didn't look too bad, but I didn't want to take any risks, so I just took it quite easy down there and just went full gas from the bottom.
We saw you just really, exhausted when just reaching the hot seat.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about, last year and coming fourth and getting so close to medals, and this is my last year in under 23, so I really wanted it today, and I think the exhaustion at the finish showed that.
And you're offering the first medal to Australia.
Yeah, I mean, Macy won the time trial for the junior girls this morning, and so yeah, it's a fantastic start for Australia and Tasmania as well.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Tasmania indeed. That's a small island off the big island, if you don't know where Tasmania is in Australia. I'm very proud, and a very good cycling island it is as well. Well, what an incredible day it's been for Australia. We had 2 silvers yesterday. I was watching the racing and commentating on the team time trial yesterday, and Orica AIS for the women and Orica Green Edge for the men, both slotted in the team time trial in second. Today it was Macy, as we heard, and also Annalisa Hull got the bronze medal for the Australians this morning in the women's junior as well. And now we're seeing Campbell. I reckon though he was told he was 15 seconds down at those 2 checks, and that was probably to keep his pecker up and keep him driving, because in fact he was 20 at both of those checks. And boy, he turned it around in the ride between the 23rd and the 36th kilometre of this time trial. Absolutely formidable performance for Campbell Flakemore. Feel sorry though for Ryan Mullen to lose by less than the blink of an eyelid. 48/100ths of a second for Ryan Mullen of Ireland. As we just watch a little few facial expressions of the riders coming home today, virtually all of them finishing in the rain, the early starters getting out in the dry. Louis Menkes there. The Rwandans now very much a part of the world cycling team. The only rider from Singapore, Lee, finishing there as well. Well, tomorrow we move on and we do the men's junior time trial. That'll be first up in the morning here in Ponferrada on day 3 of these World Championships. And then in the afternoon, the women's elite, which promises to be a superb time trial. And let's hope the weather behaves itself, because all of the race time trials use the same approach to the finish. The same little climb, the same descent, and the same sharp bends. And so let's hope that they have a drier day tomorrow for the run-up on day 3 of the World Championships here. We'll just stay with our coverage long enough to show you the medal ceremony, which again, and it's a trend these days, English-speaking countries claiming medals at the top. It used to be dominated by all the foreign-speaking nations of Europe, East and West, and nowadays an Australian, an Irishman, and then Switzerland, Portugal and Germany following suit. In the end, Jonathan Dibben finishing in 6th place for Great Britain, and Wagstedt, who made that incredibly quick start, slipped away to cross the line with the 7th best time. even this rather pleasant area looks drab and dreary in the rain, doesn't it? We are very much in a valley here. This is the El Bierzo Valley, which is a flat section through the mountains and was part of the Pilgrim's Walk of St. James, and still actually is. And this is the last town en route before we arrive at Santiago de Compostela in the province of Leon. All the preparation has gone into these championships as well, and to be when the weather turns nasty, the crowds stay away, which is very unfortunate. They will grow, of course, towards the main events that come over the weekend. All of the top riders coming into town now on a daily basis. The great Fabian Cancellara actually has moved into our hotel. I'm looking forward to a crack at the road race rather than the time trial. Bradley Wiggins is here. He's in for the time trial as well. And we'll go head to head with Tony Martin in the elite time trial. That's a couple of days away yet. But some excellent racing envisaged in these World Championships. A lot of riders bringing on the late form too.
In a few moments' time, the award ceremony of the Under-23 Men's World Championship Time Trial.
En unos instantes comenzamos con la ceremonia protocolaria de esta prueba de contrarreloj individual sub-23 masculina. Ganó la victoria también para Australia. Campbell Flickmore va a ser el nuevo mayor de campeón del mundo en esta categoría sub-23.
All of them given the total best in the race of truth, as we always call it. There's no shadowing, there's no pacing. The elements hit you, you can only do your best. And today it was very special, a terrific determined showing from Campbell Fleetmore of Australia. Well, at least I think we're going to have the presentation in sunshine, because it looks as though the clouds are breaking up over the top of us here in the commentary box. They come in from the mountains to the back of the box and disappear to the mountains to the right of the box.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we have your attention for the award ceremony of the Union Cycliste International Under-23 Men's Individual Time Trial World Championships.
Señoras y señores, les rogamos atención para la ceremonia protocolaria de la Unión Ciclista Internacional en esta prueba de la contrarreloj individual sub-23 masculina.
In third place, and winner of the bronze medal, Stefan Kung from Switzerland.
En tercera posición y ganador de la medalla bronce.
Yes, the 20-year-old who would be normally eligible to ride this race next year, but because he's now a part of BMC World Tour, is automatically disqualified. Because a World Tour rider isn't allowed to take part in the under-23 events. So his future now moves on as he becomes a fully fledged professional rider. And he certainly turned out the style today to snatch third place from the last man off.
Mayor of Ponferrada.
El ramo de flores lo entrega el señor alcalde de Ponferrada, el señor Samuel Folgueral.
The mayor of Ponferrada setting the trend with the flowers. Been a very busy man this week.
In second place and winner of the silver medal, Ryan Mullen from Ireland.
Big cheer for Ireland. 48 hundredths of a second too slow. Incredible. But still gets the first ever podium medal at the Under-23 World Championships for Ryan Mullen.
La medalla será impuesta por el señor José Manuel Peláez, miembro del Comité Directivo de la Unión Ciclista Internacional.
The flowers will be presented by Samuel Fogarel,
Can't believe it.
Mayor of Ponferrada.
Las flores las entrega el señor Samuel Folguera.
It's a bit of pill to swallow, but of course on the other foot, Campbell Flakemore will see it as a rather pleasant result.
In first place, winner of the gold medal and world champion Campbell Flakemore from Australia.
En primera posición y ganador de la medalla de oro, campeón
And Campbell Flakemore from 4th to 1st. What a difference 12 months makes. He's got it this time. He coped with his loss of a medal pretty well last year, and he's come back and he's converted to gold.
Pondrá el maillot de campeón del mundo y la medalla de oro el señor José Manuel Peláez, miembro del Comité Directivo de la Unión Ciclista Internacional.
Set the trend, indicating how well he was going when he won the prologue time trial in the Tour de l'Avenir. Shorter distance, of course, than 36 kilometers, but he showed he had the speed. Second in the Oceania Time Trial Championships this year as well, and now the World Under-23 champion. And that jersey feels rather good.
Ladies and gentlemen, now for the national anthem of Australia.
Señoras y señores, les
For the
rogamos
second
su
time
atención para
today.
escuchar el himno del campeón del mundo, el himno de Australia.
So what a day for Australia. Only day 2 of these World Cycling Championships. In all, 12 titles will be decided before the finish next Sunday when we end with the elite road race. But today, Macy Stewart and Annalisa Hall, gold and bronze for them, split by Pernille Mathiesen of Denmark. And in the men's under-23, it was Campbell Flakemore beating Ryan Mullen by 48 hundredths of a second and Stefan Kung by 9.22 seconds. To conclude the second day of action here at Ponferrada, tomorrow we'll start with the men's junior time trial and continue with the women's elite time trial, which starts local time at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Ponferrada, we hope, will dry out. Yesterday it was sunny, today it was wet. Logically, we might see the return of the sun tomorrow. These are the referees just checking the bicycles to make sure they confirm with the regulations. It has been a pretty good day of time trialing here in Ponferrada, and until tomorrow, this is Phil Liggett saying so long for now.
Who was fifth in the Chrono de Nas.
arrival of the Spanish rider. Aquí viene Mario González. Ahí tenemos al en el año 2012 seguimos con la lluvia también como grandes protagonistas. The fastest at the finish line as we see the arrival now of justamente por detrás también estilista que va a luchar también por las medallas.